and on radio at WEKY, WKXO, and WIRV. Support your favorite team with apparel from Campus Warehouse and join us here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show. Also brought to you by Bishop Small Engine Repair and Nuevo Vallarta. And now let's go live to your host, Michael Watkins and Samantha Burford.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome into the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show, another Monday night, and another sports show here where we talk about all things going on here in the county. Samantha Burford and Michael Watkins here with you. We appreciate you joining us here, Samantha. And today we've got another jam-packed show. We're going to start things off with some EKU baseball. Head coach Chris Prothro here with us. And it's an exciting time to be an EKU fan. We've been saying that for a long time now. But, Coach, you guys starting off the season hot, got a good sweep over a ASUN rival, Bellarmine, this past weekend. Just talk about how things have gone for you in your second season as the head coach. And it seems like you guys are playing really well right now.
Yeah, we've got a lot of new guys, and so it was going to be we're transitioning into a new conference, obviously, as the rest of the athletic department has done. And we have a lot of guys that are transitioning into what it's like to be a Division I player. And so we knew there would be some bumps and bruises, and we had quite a few of those opening weekend with a good Mercer team. But responding coming out of that weekend, we've played fairly well, fairly consistently over about the last 4 or 5 weeks, maybe longer than that. I think we've won our last 5 weekend series, which is all of them except for opening weekend, and won the first 2 series, including sweeping Bellarmine this last week in conference. So it's tough to complain. We've been winning. I think we can play better, but of course, I think that's natural. I think our players think they can play better too. But it's been good. Winning's way more fun than losing, I can promise you that.
That is absolutely true.
And you've got some really good individual talent, but I feel like everybody's doing well as a team. You look at some of the guys that have stepped up. Yule obviously had a big game yesterday, but we've seen different guys have big games for you. Williams, and you see what Thomason's done at the shortstop position for you. It seems like you've had different people step up for you early on in the season.
Yeah, Kendall came into the season with a lot of fanfare. I think there's some publications that picked him the number 1 prospect in our conference, and rightfully so. He's got a lot of skills, and he works really hard. And, he struggled for the first couple of weeks. He struggled for him. His numbers, if you looked at them, they were fine. But I think, he would say, and so would we, that we needed him to be a little bit better. And then, if he's not on our team this weekend, I don't know that we won 1 game, let alone all 3 of them. And then, Logan Thomason has just been wonderful all year. I told people, last year he was with us. He's obviously a Richmond kid. He's been around a lot. And he had some struggles and some tough times. But we knew after the work he put in this summer that it was written all over his face that he was going to have a good year, and still didn't get off to a great start. But he just kept plugging at it, and he's a really good college baseball player. Max Williams, same thing, second year playing in the program. Learned a lot as a freshman, played quite a bit as a freshman last year, and kind of local, from Lexington. He just plays hard, and he plays right, and he does things right, and he's helping us win too. And then Will King has been behind the plate, hitting in the 4 hole. He's DH, and when he's not behind the plate, those first 4 guys with Max, Kendall, Logan, and Will have been really, really consistent. And then there's some other guys that have come on lately that our lineup can get, I think, a little longer for some teams to deal with when they're playing well. So it's been good to see them kind of come out the other end of some struggles, but start to kind of be the best version of themselves.
You guys are at the top of the ASUN standings. Obviously, that's a goal. So let's talk about how that makes you feel, what you've said to the team, and how you're going to stay there.
Yeah, well, we just talk about it being one day at a time. We're not even halfway through the season yet. I think we'll be halfway after we finish playing on Saturday. And so there's a lot of things that can happen between now and then. And something that's kind of consistent that we say to our guys all the time is we talk about our approach to the game, but we talk about how there's no – like when we play Kentucky tomorrow, there will be no dog pile at the end of that game, win or lose. If they beat us, they're not dog piling. If we beat them, we're not. There's a lot of things left at the end of the season that we're trying to get ready for. So one thing that, I was around a coach for a long time that was always consistent in saying is you just kind of take one day at a time. And if you can have good days and stack them on top of each other, that's a pretty powerful thing, and you'll like where you're at the end. So you try not to look too far ahead. We celebrate all the wins in our program, every single one of them. So if we win, it's fun, and then you lay your head on the pillow and you wake up 0-0 the next day. But it's one day at a time because guys that work in the athletic department with us, they hear me say it all the time. It's like you got to keep your head on the swivel because you never know what the day will bring. So you just try to be as prepared as you can be.
Talking about this first year in the ASUN Conference, I feel like more now than ever before, we're doing more to try to get fans out to the games. I've seen different promotions that they're doing, and just talk about what you've seen from the athletic department that you talked about, that they're really trying to put more of a focus on getting fans out there, getting those butts in the seats, if you will.
Yeah.
100%. So one thing I was consistent about last year is the entire season, I think the entire season, we were under kind of restrictions on how many people could be out there. And still I thought every home crowd, I had no issues with the home crowd. Like the fans were out there, they were supporting us. Like the city of Richmond, the university community, I think they're hungry for, seeing success on the field, whether it's basketball, football, softball, women's soccer, golf, all of it. And specifically talking about baseball, I thought our crowds were good. And so coming out of that, knock on wood, right, without any restrictions and feeling like we could get a lot of people to the park if we did the best we could, Corey Neal and the rest of the group in the athletic department, they've been off the chain as far as what they've been putting together for promotions, whether it's coffee mugs. Yesterday we had tables on our field after the game, and all of our players were out signing autographs, and there have been kids out running the bases, and the fans have been great. I looked at like Northern Kentucky when we played on Tuesday. The weather was pretty nice. It was definitely nice for this time of the year, and it was there were empty seats, but there weren't many of them, and so.
I think there was a line to get in. I drove by, and there
believe
was a line.
I believe it.
Yes.
I kind of looked up, kind of can't really see behind our dugout, and the visiting side would be the other side. You can see that. You never really expect much. Yeah. But that side and the grandstand area where the chairbacks are, there weren't a lot of seats available. So that means there were some people there. And so we've been more than pleased with the fan support, number one. And then, they're making a commitment. When we talked about Matt Rome before we got on the deal, how good of a job he does. We're kind of steering the ship for the entire athletic department. And then, again, I go back to Corey Neal and then Mark Howard with our facilities. Yeah. And there's a lot of people, Kevin Britton and Corey Rush with the sports information.
Yeah, and David Miller. We talked
and
about
David Miller does an unbelievable job with the production part of it with ESPN Plus and all the things that go along with that. We have the support that we need. And then if you look at it, we need to play better on the road, but our record's really good at home. Yeah. I feel like those two go hand in hand. Our guys play better when there's people there supporting them. It just works out that way.
12-2, right?
Yeah, I believe that's right. Yeah. And so that's pretty good.
Yeah. It's very good.
And I think that has a lot to do with the people being out there. And it's been, we played a couple games where it was like 25-degree wind chill, and there's people there.
That
and
could have been yesterday.
It was cold.
Well, I think our opening game at home, we played Kentucky State, and it literally was 25-degree wind chill, and I see there's like 15 members of the athletic department sitting there right by the dugout, and I get, what are y'all, like, testing each other to see who's the toughest? Did somebody lose a bet? Like, what are y'all doing, But
they're supporting you.
They are. They're supporting our players.
And
they
wasn't
are.
there a game where it was snowing while you were on the field?
That was Austin P a couple weeks ago. It was on the road. Yeah, from about the 7th inning on. I don't know, blizzard. I don't know if that's how strong we should go with it, but it was snowy conditions, that's for sure.
Wow.
Well, let me add to that because I wrote down these dates because these are important. April 14th, you guys are wearing white, and you're giving out white T-shirts.
There you go.
To the first however many people. Yeah. And then the 15th, you'll like this. You have it. I have them. Dogs. Yeah. Bring your dog to the park. And then most importantly for all the kids, April the 16th at the post game, you're having an Easter egg hunt out on the field when it's over.
It's very cool. And again, those are just some of the promotions. Yeah. So,
right.
Again, we
to get
talked
more
about
people in.
What they're trying to do to draw people in.
Yes.
This is different crowds too. You're, the Bark in the Park. You're going to bring in a different
animal
crowd.
Lovers.
You're going to bring in the kids on the
Easter egg hunt.
So they did like baseball cards of our players this past weekend. They're being really creative and they're hustling.
You need to take your kids.
And
to
it's
the Easter egg.
it's been impressive and appreciated by our side of things just because it is more fun to play in front of a good crowd.
Yeah.
And they're doing everything they can. I promise you, if it's not a good crowd, it's not for lack of effort. It's usually the weather, or maybe they're mad at me because we're not playing good enough, But it's been great to see. And that's one thing that's been consistent. Like I said, even last year, the crowds here have been really good. I noticed it, I know basketball had a tough year this year for lots of reasons. But I noticed it when they were rolling early in the year and then all of last year. Like the people of Richmond, they'll come out. Yeah. They'll come out, and there is a lot of support for EKU. I think that doesn't just necessarily stay here in Richmond as well. So, it's on us to field a competitive product. We need to have our players do the right things, represent the university the correct way, and we need to play well. Yeah. But we can have a really good experience out there.
Well, you talked about your product out on the field. I think the fact that you've got some of the local kids on your team too helps draw folks from Lexington or from Eastern Kentucky when you get some players from up there. I think, and the fact that those kids are good, they can play for your team. I think that's a big deal in trying to bring some different folks out to watch the games. And I know that you've got a good relationship with some of the high school coaches here locally. I know we talked about this during football season. We had you on the tailgate show, but recruiting-wise, I feel like it's easier now because you've got huddle and everything else. But baseball really doesn't have that luxury to watch all these games on film like basketball and football does. So
and have a week in between to prepare.
Yeah, exactly. You're always out on the road too.
Sure.
So during the season, what are you doing recruiting-wise to see what's out there? Because while you're playing, the high school teams are also playing.
Yeah, they all just got started last week,
Yep.
and so we've been out. Coach Jones, Coach Wofford, and myself, we're the three coaches on staff that are able to get out and recruit for NCAA rules. And last Monday I was out watching a local left-handed pitcher about an hour down the road, and Coach Jones has been out a couple times. He went up to Louisville and watched a good high school game. I know Coach Wofford went and watched Madison Central the other day.
Yeah.
And so recruiting, it's such an interesting time from a recruiting standpoint because, for baseball, there's not necessarily huddle or stuff like that. But the information that the recruits can find out about our place, the university, the facilities, all that stuff, is very easy and accessible. So anyone in the country can be interested here. We can recruit nationally here. We really can. But you have to. If you're not taking care of what's going on from 15 minutes from campus or 30 minutes from campus or 30 miles or really start in the state of Kentucky, then you're missing the boat. And that's one thing, we weren't able to go recruiting as NCAA coaches, probably 15, 16 months. So my first time out recruiting was last June, and I went to a high school baseball game for Kentucky. It was a playoff game. And I'm going, this is really good.
Yeah.
This is really good. The level of play is fantastic. And, I'm from the South. You always hear where it's Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, all that. All the best baseball and all the best athletes are in the South. And, I don't want to knock any of that because, there's good athletes there.
Oh, yeah.
But it's comparable, the baseball that I got the chance to see there at the end. Now, it was the best teams playing.
Yeah.
But there's good enough players in the state of Kentucky that if we can recruit the right ones, we can be really good.
Well, I think, too, whenever you look at, the state itself, it's year-round now. I mean, you're seeing, the high school season and then a travel team season, and then there's hitting camps and all the other stuff that's going on. Is the university allowed to host stuff like that in the off-season?
Sure. Depending on the recruiting period, whether it's a quiet period, dead period, or contact period, which we don't need to get into all that.
Oh, yeah.
As long as the period allows for it, then the answer is yes. Like we'll have some prospect camps at our place. We'll have some hitting camps. We've done some youth camps, and then we'll have during the summer, especially now that they've given us the turf field.
Yeah.
We'll have quite a few tournaments. We'll travel teams will come in and they'll actually play at our facility. So. The commitment that our university has made in the athletic department, it starts with Dr. McFadden, our president, and then Matt and the rest of the bunch. They've put resources in that give us a chance to, one, host those type of events, but then we're hosting them on very recruitable facilities.
Yeah.
And the university is a very recruitable university, as we all know. You leave EKU with a degree, that degree means something. And so being able to have those two go into the support, the resources, facilities, and then the education to sell with that, we should be a factor in recruiting in the state of Kentucky. Very much so.
Before we let you go,
I want to ask you about tomorrow.
That's where I was headed. You go first. You go first with it.
You're just going down the road 30 minutes, but, they've got their new facility. You have your new facility. Obviously, you already mentioned you're playing better at home. What are you going to do tomorrow to beat UK?
Wow, well, you shouldn't have asked me that.
Don't want to tell the game plan.
You could have said, what are you going to do tomorrow to play well against UK?
Okay, no, because we want you to beat them.
Yeah.
Well, we want to beat them too, but, that will be easier said than done. They're very good. They're well
They're having a good season, just like you guys
They just
are.
came off a really good weekend. Mm-hmm. They played the University of Georgia, who's really good, 1, 2, or 3 from those guys.
We even watched them on TV, sitting at home, flipping channels.
Yeah, they're talented, well coached. They get after it. They play hard. We played them twice last year and played them tight twice last year. The answer is, does it mean a little bit more because they're right up the road? Yeah. Probably. Yeah. But you try to treat it exactly as we treated yesterday,
right.
Which for our guys, we're learning that every day is an opportunity for us to figure out what our version of playing well looks like. And I think that as we get closer to that, as the season goes along, we'll like where we're at more often than not. It guarantees us nothing. Kentucky's got a bunch of guys on scholarship just like we do. They've got a bunch of nice facilities where they work hard at just like we do.
Yes.
And the ball's got to bounce your way every now and then too. But we'll take our chances when we play well. And so that's what I want to see. It will be in a $50 million stadium, playing on ESPN Plus or SEC Network, whatever, and they've got good players, and they just came off a good weekend. And so let's go see. Let's go play well in that environment, and whatever happens, happens.
Absolutely.
That's Chris Prothro, the head coach of the EKU baseball team. Coach, always a pleasure to talk to you. Hopefully before the A-Sun tournament, we can have you back over.
We'd love
and
that, yes.
talk about what the postseason looks like for you and the Colonels.
It'd be great. Thank you all so much for having me.
Good luck tomorrow night.
All right, appreciate it.
We'll take a commercial break. When we come back, Hagan Harrison is free. We'll talk to him when we come back on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show.
What does in transit mean? When you see that on our website at jackburford.com, it means your favorite Chevy is on the way. Call us at 859-623-3350 to reserve it, and we'll keep you updated throughout the entire process. See, it's that easy. Reserve your new Chevy today at jackburford.com. Your vehicle is now in transit.
I'm Michelle. And I'm Jennifer, and in the spring of 1992, Bishop Small Engine Repair was born in our mom and dad's barn in Esco County.
Then, in the fall of 1992, we made the move to Madison County, where we are today. With the support of our family, customers, and community, we have continued to grow in the outdoor power industry. With a full line of products from Kokudet, Grasshopper, Echo, and Shindawa, we can help you tackle your yard so you can enjoy it with your family. Bishop Small Engine Repair, where our focus is our customer. Stop on in, 119 North Estill Avenue in Richmond. We can't wait to see you.
Locally family-owned and operated Bluegrass Restoration and Construction is a full-service construction company offering full-service home maintenance. Bluegrass Restoration specializes in wind, fire, and water damage and mold remediation with 24/7 emergency services. Bluegrass Restoration and Construction is here to serve you during any emergency. All their services are performed in-house with no subcontractors. No job is too big or small for Bluegrass Restoration and Construction. Give them a call at 859-353-1133.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best margaritas and fajitas in town. Doesn't a huge 32-ounce ice-cold beer sound great? Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find, and that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Back here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show, Samantha Burford, Michael Watkins, thanks to all of our great sponsors. Folks, when you see these commercials played during the commercial breaks, go out there and say thank you to all the folks that are out there supporting us and helping us support these local kids here in the community. We've got a good one here.
That's why we do it. Yes.
We got a good one here,
people
Samantha.
just like this.
So for folks that don't know, you might not have seen the face before because
he's always got a football helmet on.
Well, he's got the helmet on, and then we didn't get to see him out there
at
on
basketball this season.
And I remember once during the season, Hagan, so a friend of mine who don't get to see a ton, and he watches a lot of games on WBON, and he said that he was at the North Laurel game, and he's like, man, there's this kid playing JV that's just going crazy, but he didn't play a minute in the varsity game. What's going on?
Yeah,
why? I just explained to him what was going on.
He's thinking something's wrong with the coach.
Yeah, well,
when the coach put him in.
Hey, but he's free now, so Hagan is available. He's eligible to play.
Doesn't that need to be in all caps?
Yeah, free.
It does, yes.
Yeah. So I saw it on Twitter
Free.
over the weekend. I'm like, I got to reach out to him and see if we can have him on the show. Now, we've done some interviews with you before, but never here live. So let's talk about, first of all, you're free. What does that mean exactly, that you're able to play basketball and everything now?
Yeah, free, when I posted it on my Twitter, it felt like I had handcuffs on. I had my hands tied behind my back. I wasn't able to go and do what any young individual would love to do. And I think that this year off was really humbling for me, and I think many kids wouldn't take it as well as I did, and I think that I will learn from this, and it'll make me better in the long run.
Now, you were playing some JV this year. Now, toward the end of the season, I don't think you played the last couple of weeks during the JV season, but you had a tremendous year on the football field. So let's talk football.
And I want to
first.
know why too. Why those last 2 weeks?
Yeah. Well, so what was was it? Just rest up, or was there an injury maybe that was going on?
Well, at first I wasn't really leaning on wanting to play JV. I've never had to play JV. I mean, I came in as a freshman and started varsity.
Yeah, Montgomery County.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to brag on myself or anything like that, but to step down like that, it's kind of hard for me. So I played for a little bit, and I just I feel like it was mentally hurting me, and I didn't like what position I was in. So I asked him, could I just take a step back, and Coach was fine with that. So
okay.
Yeah. So now let's talk football. We'll get back to basketball, but I mean, man, you guys as a football team came, I think, out of nowhere. I mean, I don't know. We could tell that there was something special brewing early on in the season, but when you came in and took over the quarterback spot.
Yeah, that was when? September?
It was like the third game of the season when you started playing, and then I think the fourth game is whenever you actually started it as the
Pikeville
quarterback.
was my first. No,
South
Lafayette was my first start, but I only played till halftime.
Okay.
So Pikeville was my full first game.
And, I mean, I think from then on you could just tell that things started to click with the football team. And you had played, quarterback in middle school, but –
yeah, it was before middle school. I think – 6th grade was my last year.
Like
so
Pee-wee League
so it had been a while.
Little
but
League.
You came in, and I mean, the team just took off. So now that you're kind of in the off season, you're getting a full off season workouts, and then you'll head into the spring ball and stuff like that with football. How are things looking out there on the football field?
I think they're looking really, really bright for us. I think we have a really good shot to go as far as we did last year, if not farther. I think. Me personally, I'll be a lot more comfortable. I mean, coming out there last year, being your first year playing 6A football, I mean, that's big boy football. So I'm getting thrown out there with some Tigers, and I'm trying to get my game going. But it's hard. But Coach Holcomb was there for me every step of the way, and so were my teammates. I mean, they welcomed me in like no one else ever has. So I was really comfortable once I got a couple games under my belt. But I think next year, we'll get rolling a lot better than we were this year.
Doesn't that makes me happy that they didn't look to you as an outsider, this new guy coming in, he's going to take the head spot as the quarterback. Yeah. Like, I'm sure when you came in, did you say, I want to play this position, or did you just say, Coach, put me where you need me?
Yeah, just put me wherever I can help.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in the student section the first game, and I was like, you know what, this team looks like they have something great, and I want to be a part of that. So I went down to, I guess y'all know Gillum, don't you?
Yep.
So I was in his class, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to come out for practice today. So I came out there, and I was like, Coach, just put me wherever I can help. And he's like, we'll do that.
Did he say, what have you done in the past? Have you quarterbacked?
Yeah, I told him he'd heard a little bit about me from the past. I mean, my dad had a youth program called the Nicholasville Panthers, and we played in national tournaments. We were all really good, so I guess you heard about that.
Well,
so.
and having a legendary coach like Coach Holcomb, who's had some tremendous quarterbacks through the years, I think it was good for both of you, for him to kind of have somebody that can run some of the stuff that he was able to run back when he was in Breathitt County, having those state championship teams, and for you to have a guy to lean on who's pretty much seen it all and relay that
Lots
to you.
Lots of experience, too. Yeah.
So now we're heading into this year. We've got Malachi Wood going to Kentucky. There's some other names that will probably be going somewhere eventually at the football or on the football side of things. So I feel like it's all there. I mean, you're bringing a lot back to Fitz. Now, you lost a lot, too, on both sides of the ball.
But there's a lot coming back.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So what are some of the goals that you guys have talked about? I know and that'll probably come around eventually anyway, but while you're out there lifting weights and doing some of these spring workouts, what are you guys talking about right now as far as the goals are for the team this season?
Well, last year we obviously lost to St. X in the semi-state, so I think we've all been talking about we don't want to feel that pain again. We don't want to get to that position and lose. So our goal is to work hard so that we can get back to that position and then move on from that position and go to the next spot and hopefully win a state championship. That's our goal.
Yeah, you look at some of the individual talented guys. I mean, this team is loaded. But let's talk basketball now because that's the reason why you came to Madison Central, right? I mean, we're here.
That was the goal.
Yes.
Yeah, we're here to come play basketball for Allen Feldhouse and with some of these guys that are on this team already. How hard was it for you to sit there throughout this season and see these? There were some big games, some big wins, some tough losses. How hard was it to sit over there and watch this season unfold?
Sitting on the bench is really heartbreaking for me. I'd rather just be home and not even pay attention, to be honest. But I wanted to be there for my teammates, and I wanted to help them every way I could. But there's a few times before games I'd be in the locker room just crying, and I didn't want anybody to see it. So most of the time it was by myself. But, playing basketball your whole life and not knowing when it'll be taken away from you. I mean, you never know. Your next day is not promised. The next minute's not promised. So I wanted to be able to take full advantage of this opportunity when I moved over here, and for it to be taken away from me is honestly heartbreaking, especially for any kid that's, my age. So.
Yeah.
But obviously you moved thinking that you would be eligible
Yeah.
to play. You wouldn't have moved, I wouldn't have thought, if you didn't think you wouldn't.
And that kind of leaned on me going to football, too, because I knew there was a possibility of me not being able to play. So I was like, you know what, might as well get one sport out of it while I'm here. So
there you go.
Yeah.
And it worked out, obviously. With
Optimistic.
The season.
Yes.
Talk about, some of the guys that you know, Will Harden was incredible this year. Robbie Todd had a great senior season. Those two guys are going to be very hard to replace. There is potential that we might have a Robbie Todd coming back. That's some stuff to be worked out,
We're
obviously.
knocking on wood, right?
But, I mean, there's a lot of really good players coming back. I mean, look at what Jalen Davis did the last 2 years. Trey Skaggs has been a starter pretty much his entire career. Kenyatta Hart's coming back from a torn ACL. He'll play football. He'll play basketball.
Parker Mullins will be back.
Parker Mullins and Elijah Steele and Keith Stewart, guys that got some confidence this year because they were kind of just thrown into the fire.
Yep.
So, I mean, basketball-wise, you and I talked about it on Twitter. There's some potential there to be really good, make a deep run in the postseason in football, and then turn around and do the same thing in basketball.
Yeah, and that's my goal. I hope we can go for state championship in both. I feel like that's everybody's goal is to go state championship.
Yeah.
But I think we have a really good shot to do so in both. And I think with our team coming back, with the pieces we do have coming back, I think with me sitting out last year has really helped kids that have never really played that much to get varsity experience, and I think that'll help us in the long run this year.
All right. Okay. Without either coach watching, is there a sport you like more than the other? What's your favorite?
Coach Feldhouse, Coach Holcomb, turn your
They're
TV.
not watching. They're not watching.
I don't know. I mean, I love both of them.
Yeah.
But I think which one I'm better at, basketball.
Yeah.
Just
have you ever thought about baseball? You know, Coach Prothro is right here.
No, never thought about baseball.
We should have introduced him, shouldn't we?
Here's the thing about
Recruiting
Hagan.
him.
We've seen him play football. We've seen him play some basketball. Now, I think during the JV games, we didn't get to see his
full extent,
his full array of moves and everything else. But I mean, isn't it? The kid's an athlete. I mean, you are athletic.
Well, I figured baseball, bowling. I bet you're good at archery.
Yeah,
I mean
that's the thing.
Bowling.
When you're athletic, when you're gifted, you're gifted. And we don't want to give him the big head, Samantha. But I think Hagan's grounded enough that he can handle things like what he's seen out there. And obviously, going through what you did last year, how do you think that helped you grow as an athlete and as a person?
I think it helps me man up. I think it shows me what life is really like, that things are going to be taken from you, but you have to get through them, and you have to work with other people to get through them. And I think that's really what I learned, is just becoming a man and putting things that are going to hurt you behind you and moving forward with it.
That's such a great life lesson that you hate for someone of your age to have to learn it so early.
Mm-hmm.
So you said your goals both to go into a state championship for both teams. How are you going to prepare mindset, especially, to mentally be prepared for that?
I think I'm built different. I think I'm ready for that. I've always been ready for this opportunity, and I think this is my time to shine. This is our time to shine as a team, and I think that it'll happen. But mindset-wise, I think I've been ready for this, to be honest.
Yeah, what you've been building for, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, you've got – I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you about the transfer portal. I mean, that was something that college has been a big thing. And last year we saw it all over the state. There were people moving and shifting and changing teams, changing schools. How do you think that could affect things going forward in a positive way or maybe even a negative way? Because I feel like we saw it with you. We saw it with other schools. You can't just say, okay, you can play, you can't play. But that's what they did last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you think that is going to affect things going forward?
Like recruiting-wise?
Yeah, well, I guess it is kind of
That's
recruiting.
what I was going to ask
in
recruiting, where you want to go.
You can't really technically recruit, but that's kind of what's going on under the table.
Oh, you're talking about high school?
Yeah,
okay.
High school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll ask you about college in a minute.
I think if they pass that, that one free transfer, I think that'll be big. I think a lot of people will transfer after that. But I think if not, I think that I was using an example personally by the KHSAA, and I think that hopefully they will do a better job at cracking down on people. I mean, I felt like it was kind of pick and choose because you look at GRC, right? They get 4 or 5 transfers and they're all eligible within the first week, and then I'm over here and I'm not. Yeah. And, I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow, but I think that I was used as a good example to hopefully crack down on this in the long run. So.
And then they won a state championship from it.
Yeah. I mean, that's tough to see.
Yeah, and they were good. They were good. And Central hung right with them early on in the season. But I think that team got better as they kind of gelled, and the more they played together, the better they got. Which I think that could have been the case for you guys had you had the chance to do so throughout the season. But you want to talk about college recruiting?
I do. Obviously, at your age, you've got to have some type of lots looking at you, different schools. So is there one you're leaning towards? You're keeping all your options open?
Well, with me having to sit out, my recruiting slowed down a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always keeping my options open. I don't have a desired place I want to go to. I'm willing to go whatever fits best for me and whatever I think I'll do best and whatever environment I'll strive best in.
Out of state.
Whichever
you don't
one.
care.
Yeah, don't matter.
Don't care.
Give him a shot.
Yeah.
Now,
We want to keep
you have
you
a
in
sister that
state.
plays college ball, right?
Sister, yeah. She's at UT Martin.
UT Martin,
She
okay.
actually just entered the transfer portal. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, breaking news there. Now, who's the better athlete, you or Big Sis?
Oh, me,
okay.
for sure.
All right, we'll have to talk to her about that.
Okay, I was going to say she may
We'll have to
argue
see.
with that.
Okay.
You
No.
know.
Well, Hagan, my man, we are super
Is it just
excited.
the two of you?
No, I have a younger sister, too.
Wow.
Is she an athlete?
What does she
too?
play?
Well, she used to cheer, but she does nothing now.
Okay.
She has a little job, so.
There you go. She's working. She's got
Making
her-
the little sister work.
Well, hey, somebody's got to, right?
Got to. Yes. Yes.
Well, Hagan, man, listen, we are super excited to see you back out on the football field. We're excited to see you out there on the hardwood as well. Big
And we're gonna
things
keep
coming
you
up
healthy.
this year. Yeah, big things coming up this year. Looking
Yes.
forward to it, and looking forward to football, basketball, and big things for Madison Central Athletics because they'll come in season.
Yes, sir. I'm
right.
looking forward to it.
Thanks,
Thank
man. It's Hagan Harrison. Follow him on Twitter. Give us the Twitter handle.
Hagan Harrison 10.
There you go. It's simple, simple. There you go, folks. We'll take a commercial break. We'll come back. We got a lot more to talk about. There is some news that broke today. A former Madison Central basketball player has entered that transfer portal, and we have an interview with Mr. Basketball Tanner Buttry as well when we come back on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show.
What does in transit mean? When you see that on our website at jackburford.com, it means your favorite Chevy is on the way. Call us at 859-623-3350 to reserve it, and we'll keep you updated throughout the entire process. See, it's that easy. Reserve your new Chevy today at jackburford.com. Your vehicle is now in transit.
I'm Michelle. And I'm Jennifer. And in the spring of 1992, Bishop Small Engine Repair was born in our mom and dad's barn in Estill County.
Then, in the fall of 1992, we made the move to Madison County, where we are today. With the support of our family, customers, and community, we have continued to grow in the outdoor power industry. With a full line of products from Kokudet, Grasshopper, Echo, and Shindawa, we can help you tackle your yard so you can enjoy it with your family. Bishop Small Engine Repair, where our focus is our customer. Stop on in, 119 North Estill Avenue in Richmond. We can't wait to see you.
Locally family owned and operated Bluegrass Restoration and Construction is a full service construction company offering full service home maintenance. Bluegrass Restoration specializes in wind, fire, and water damage and mold remediation with 24/7 emergency services. Bluegrass Restoration and Construction is here to serve you during any emergency. All their services are performed in-house with no subcontractors. No job is too big or small for Bluegrass Restoration and Construction. Give them a call at 859-353-1133.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best margaritas and fajitas in town. Doesn't a huge 32-ounce ice-cold beer sound great? Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills. When you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Back here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show, Samantha Burford, Michael Watkins here with you. And Samantha, you know, it's been such a busy basically month and a half, 2 months. I mean, it's just been, we had all the games that were on Monday, then we did the show at Gillham's on that Wednesday afternoon during the district tournament.
And you know usually what we're talking about right now. EKU basketball,
well,
Kentucky basketball.
Yeah, but and
I know, everybody out there in this
Kentucky fans are so
disappointed
mad right now because the teams that are in the Final Four. I mean, it's just you got Gonzaga, or you got Kansas and Villanova and North Carolina and Duke. Every Kentucky fan is just so upset right now with everything.
And
that's
still
going
watching
on.
it.
Yeah.
And it was do I watch St. Peter's and root for 'em or do I not?
Yeah. Well, if you, I do want to remind you, if you did fill out a bracket on the Coyote Bracket Challenge, you can go online, WCYOFM.com, and you can enter your email address, find out where you are in the standings. Now, I am way down.
I didn't even do a bracket this year.
Well,
Not a single one.
Here's the thing.
I usually do 5 or 6.
Yeah, well, Dawson and I, while you were on one of your 17 vacations, Dawson and I did our brackets here on the show, and we both broke down, who we now I think Dawson might have one team left. I lost 2 of my Final Four teams the first day of the tournament. I had Kentucky and Iowa in the Final Four. And then obviously I had Gonzaga and Arizona in the other 2 spots. So none of my Final Four teams are even close to being around.
Yeah.
But,
well, I did go to the women's SEC tournament, and that was the highlight of my basketball season. Them winning. We just had no expectations, and then for them to keep winning. Now, we did go to watch our daughter dance, so it made it twice as great.
Yeah.
It was
to see that, to see her dance, and then to see the team do what they did, kind of a surprising
made
fashion.
It all great.
And with the transfer portal, we're talking about it. There's some big news. We'll get to that here in a few moments. But there was some big news last weekend. So 8 days ago, Tanner Buttry, former Madison Southern basketball player, he played for his dad Shane at Madison Southern his 8th grade year. And, we've really got to see Tanner grow up. I remember calling when I first started calling games, you got to interview Coach Buttry a lot of times. Tanner was always around. He's kind of like Coach Newton's son now.
Yes.
Always around, always watching the games.
Holding the basketball, bouncing the basketball, in the pictures.
And one thing that I've always heard about Tanner is he is a gym rat to the highest extreme.
Yes.
I mean, we saw Coach Newton and Coach Chris Razor a couple of weeks ago talking about him when he was back here in Madison County. He was texting, trying to find out, can I get in the gym, please? I just want to shoot, get some shots up. He's going to be playing basketball at EKU. He's going to be going to Eastern.
And signed with them already.
A team he grew up watching with his dad, went to games. I mean,
how exciting does that make you feel? Like we're going to get to go 5 minutes down the road and watch him
play. And he's done a tremendous job getting himself ready to play at the next level.
And A.W. Hamilton with this transfer portal and all these people possibly leaving, coming and going.
Yeah.
He's super excited to have a Mr. Basketball.
Yeah, and that's a big deal for the university, too. I think that I saw this as the 5th time that EKU has had a Mr. Basketball on their team. So it's a big deal. Tanner Buttry, again, former Madison Southern basketball player, his 8th grade year, finished up his career 4 years at Bowling Green, a tremendous career there. Had a tremendous season this past season, and we spoke to him in an interview on Friday that we're going to play for you here now. Here is Mr. Basketball and future EKU Colonel Tanner Buttry. We're here with Tanner Buttry from Bowling Green High School, and Tanner just won Mr. Basketball last weekend. Before we get into all that, let's just talk about your career at Bowling Green and, kind of when you and your family moved back home to Western Kentucky or moved back to Western Kentucky, what was your goals? What was kind of going through your mind as you kind of looked into the future? Obviously, it's been a great career for you down there and kind of culminated with Mr. Basketball, but was any of that in your head whenever you were moving back to Western Kentucky?
No, it wasn't really a I want to get, mine sort of thing. It was kind of just, I want to be in a great culture with a bunch of winning guys and that guys just love to be in the gym. And, that's what we have here. And it's been great. I love my teammates I've played with for 4 years. And, it's been great.
I saw after the season came to an end for you guys, you posted on Twitter a picture of you and your dad and how it was going to be much different for you with him not being on the sidelines with you anymore. So talk about that and your relationship with him, not only on the court, but off the court as well.
Yeah, my relationship on the court, he some days when he doesn't feel like it, he'll still come to the gym with me, rebound for me. He always says that he's the nation's leading rebounder because he always is rebounding for me. And, on the court, he's hard on me sometimes, but he also lets me know when I'm doing good. And off the court, it seems like we're always joking. It's always joking about something or talking about basketball. My mom, she tries to keep, when we're at home, tries to keep it not always about basketball, take our mind off of it a little bit. So, but our relationship's great.
Well, I've seen you shoot a lot, so I don't, and I've not seen too many misses from you, so I don't know how you can be the leading rebounder. maybe leading the nation and getting the ball out of the net for you. But but I think that, and obviously he's been around with you on the sidelines for a long time. So what will that be like for you? And talk about that, I guess, moving forward, what that's going to be like for you.
I think that it'll be a little challenging at first, just not having my dad there. I mean, you got to adapt to that no matter who you are. But I've had practice with, of course, in AAU in the summer and stuff. He's never coached me in that. But I'm just gonna, I know he's always a text away, call away. So, but yeah, I got a lot of faith in my coaches at EKU, and I'm sure that they'll make it, feel like home. And yeah, so I'm not really worried about it, but it'll definitely take some adapting.
I know you weren't up this way a ton, but you were in Madison County some throughout the last 4 years. What has your relationship been with some of the guys that you either played with when you were younger or against when you were younger that you knew here? Do you talk to any of those guys still? Do you keep up with them? What's your relationship like with some of those guys?
Yeah, we actually still watch Madison Southern just because, from WBO and TV, just because, that group that I played with, I'm really close with them. They were some of the first people to text me after I won Mr. Basketball. And it's my 7th grade year. We won the first conference championship at Ferristown that ever been won. And actually, 5 or 6 of them came to my signing. They came to Bowling Green for my signing. Yeah, but I was up there during their season, during the football season, actually. And like 6 or 7 of us went out to eat at Buffalo Wild Wings in Richmond. And so, it's still a good relationship. Anytime that I see him, it's just like we haven't lost much. But the people in my grade, I still got a tight relationship with them for sure.
I know when after the award was announced and you were announced as the winner, I saw, all kinds of people on Twitter and Facebook congratulating you, and they're still claiming you as a Madison County boy winning that award. So what does that feel like, knowing that you got the fan base down there, but also you got so many people from here in Madison County that saw you when you were younger, coming up through the ranks? What does that mean to you, that you got all this support behind you?
Oh yeah, it's great. There's always been people, no matter where I went, who have tried to tear me down and stuff. My mom has just been real big on looking at the people who support you, and I have a lot of that back home and here. So it was great. When the Richmond Register put out those pictures of me in the Southern uniform, like former Southern Guard and stuff like that, that was great to see. And just all the people who liked it, retweeted it. That was great to see. And a lot of people that saw me in Lexington that were from Richmond, up at Rupp Arena, they're just like, we can't wait to have you. It's great. I love the support.
Well, let's talk about that. So you chose EKU, and I know Coach Hamilton's been a big supporter of you. He was there during some of your games in the postseason. He was there when you received the award. What's it been like since, leading up to your decision? And we'll talk about the decision afterward. But, going through that process, what made you really hone in and choose EKU?
They offered me actually during like the COVID pandemic, after my sophomore season. And like there were a lot of critics, coaches in college just talking about my size and my athleticism and stuff like that, and questioned if I could play at the next level. And when EKU offered me, it kind of made me feel like, they believed in me first. They believed in me before everybody else did. And then I had a really good AAU summer, and I committed right before my junior year. And then other colleges started to, try to start contacting me. But, EKU is the perfect fit for me. I watched tons of their games before I committed and just saw how they play. They play super fast and shoot a bunch of threes. And the players love Coach Hamilton. They love the whole staff. And it's like they just have a really great relationship. And I noticed that. And, it was great. I knew that it was the place to be for me and a place that felt like home.
Since you've made that decision, talk about the support you've seen not only from EKU and Coach Hamilton, but from the fans of Eastern as well that are excited to see you in the maroon.
Oh yeah, it's great. Tons of people they like all my stuff on social media and they comment stuff to me. And if they see me out while I'm down there, they'll come up, shake my hand. Which I love, just tell me that they're excited for me to be up there and be back home and all that stuff. So yeah, it's great. I knew that I would have some support, but I didn't know that it would be this good. But it's great.
Talk about the team that Eastern has and how you think you'll be able to fit in there as a freshman with a lot of really good guards coming in. I think it'll be a good competitive balance with you and some of these other names that are coming in there, along with the guys that are already on the roster.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning of the interview, I just want to win. Anything I can do to help win. I'm a pretty good shooter, people say. So if I can shoot the ball and get on the floor, guard anything that they need me to do, I'll do it to get on the floor and help my team win.
Yeah, speaking of somebody that can't shoot or from somebody that can't shoot, it's always fun seeing some of the highlights of you out there on the floor. But let's talk about, some of the people that you would like to thank. I mean, is there anybody from the time you were little coming up and where you are now that you would just look back and be like, man, I really appreciate what that person did for me, whether it was your dad or a coach or anybody that you'd like to just, maybe say thank you to?
Oh, yeah. Of course, my dad, my whole family. They know that I love all the support they show me and the help. But I would say outside of my family, Coach Aaron Ponder, that's at Madison Southern now as an assistant. He was like kind of my first head coach, and Brian Simpson as well, Blake Simpson's dad. Them two were like my first head coaches, and I've been very fortunate to have coaches in my life who haven't let me slack. Sometimes if you're like the team's best player or good player, kind of they kind of let you slack, but I've never been around that. It's been great for me. But yeah, just of course my dad, but then my dad's staff as well. Coach Bevins, Coach Redford, Coach Chris, Coach Adams. That was at Fairstown with me at Madison Southern now too. Just a lot of support from that area for sure. That just growing up.
But I know whenever you were back home here recently, Coach Newton and Chris Razor were talking about, you were trying to get into the gym. Where do you get that motivation from? What makes you, just constantly want to be playing basketball?
I think that, it started around 6th, 7th grade. A chip just formed on my shoulder, just from a lot of people just telling me what I couldn't do or that I couldn't do this or wouldn't go at this level, and saying that I got everything from my dad just because he's my coach, and it created a chip on my shoulder, and that chip created me to caused me to work very hard, and I think that since I've been working hard, that it's become who I am. No matter what I gain and no matter how good I get, I'm still gonna always want to be in the gym, wanting to get better. It's like it's like my life.
Well, whenever you look back at your high school career, there's not much more that you can accomplish. You made a trip to the Sweet 16, winning Mr. Basketball, but is there any regrets that you have or anything you wish you could have changed or done differently when you look back on it?
As far as like playing hard, putting in work, keeping my head on straight, no, not at all. I gave everything that I had to this program for 4 years, which is a great feeling when you have no regrets about that kind of stuff. But I've always just that Elite Eight game against Ballard. I wish that we could just have back a few possessions. That would be the only thing. I've had great relationships with my teammates, stuff like that. Yeah. I gave it all I had, so there's not much that I regret. But
talk about some of your goals when you're going to be going to EKU next year. So, what are some of the goals that you have when you become an EKU Colonel?
Of course, I want to play as a freshman, and I want to go to the NCAA tournament. Just those two things. I want to help do whatever I can do to win. But yeah, I think going to the NCAA tournament would be the main thing.
When you were younger, whenever you lived here in Madison County, did you and your dad or your family go to a lot of EKU games back in the day?
Yes, we actually did. We would always go to like the little I can't remember what it was called, but it's like the Big Blue Madness for EKU.
Yeah, Hooperama or something. Yeah.
Yeah. We used to always go to that. And actually, a few weeks ago, my dad somehow found a picture of me at one of those. I was like, 5 or 6 years old. But yeah, and I never imagined that I'd be back. But yeah, it's great that I am.
Well, Turner, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk to us, man. Speaking from somebody that's got to watch you kind of come through the ranks, it's been a pleasure to watch you get better and stay motivated. We're looking forward to covering you as you become an EKU Colonel. Good luck in the future, and thanks for talking with us today, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
What does in transit mean? When you see that on our website at jackburford.com, it means your favorite Chevy is on the way. Call us at 859-623-3350 to reserve it, and we'll keep you updated throughout the entire process. See, it's that easy. Reserve your new Chevy today at jackburford.com. Your vehicle is now in transit.
I'm Michelle. And I'm Jennifer, and in the spring of 1992, Bishop Small Engine Repair was born in our mom and dad's barn in Estill County.
Then, in the fall of 1992, we made the move to Madison County, where we are today. With the support of our family, customers, and community, we have continued to grow in the outdoor power industry. With a full line of products from Cub Cadet, Grasshopper, Echo, and Shindawa, we can help you tackle your yard so you can enjoy it with your family. Bishop Small Engine Repair, where our focus is our customer. Stop on in, 119 North Estill Avenue in Richmond. We can't wait to see you.
Locally family owned and operated Bluegrass Restoration and Construction is a full service construction company offering full service home maintenance. Bluegrass Restoration specializes in wind, fire, and water damage and mold remediation with 24/7 emergency services. Bluegrass Restoration and Construction is here to serve you during any emergency. All their services are performed in-house with no subcontractors. No job is too big or small for Bluegrass Restoration and Construction. Give them a call at 859-353-1133.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best margaritas and fajitas in town. Doesn't a huge 32-ounce ice-cold beer sound great? Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find, and that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Back here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show, Samantha Burford here with you, along with Michael Watkins. We appreciate you joining us here on a Monday night, folks. We're hoping, Samantha, we're eventually going to get some consistent warm weather.
It's coming.
But you know what? Whether it's warm or cold, come on out here to Jack Burford Chevrolet. Tons of great vehicles on the lot for you.
Lots of people in here today.
Yeah, a lot of people working hard and selling some cars. I saw people leaving
One
here today.
just left.
Well, listen,
there's the other one getting ready to go out.
When we came in, they had just brought in one of the new Traverses, the 21 Traverses, into the showroom, and then they had to back it back out. So they're selling cars here.
I think that was supposed to be mine at one point, too.
It probably was. I think every car out here is supposed to be yours at one point.
I'm sure it was a 2022, not a 21.
No, they said it was 21. They said it was a 21. Yep.
Okay.
But it wasn't here long. It was not in the showroom long, and it was gone. But, Samantha, we do have some big news to talk about. A couple of stories before we go off the air.
Yes.
First off, we'll be talking about a former Madison Central basketball player that has been playing college ball that has entered the transfer portal, Isaiah Cozart, who, when he played at Madison Central for a brief moment, broke the all-time shot blocks record in high school basketball for the state of Kentucky.
And we watched it.
I think that record's been broke twice since Isaiah did it. But what a great player he was at Madison Central. A quiet young man, but he let his game do the talking. A tremendous basketball player. Would love. I'm not sure if EKU and him have talked.
Are you tweeting
would love
A.W.
to
Hamilton?
See Isaiah Cozart in the maroon and white. That's what EKU's missing is kind of that rim protector right now with some of the guys that they've seen leave. So I think he would be a big addition if EKU could land Isaiah Cozart. He posted on Twitter this graphic that Gage has got up for us. After much prayer and discussion with my family, I have decided to enter my name into the transfer portal. I cannot express enough how much I have enjoyed my time at WKU. And he said, I am looking forward to the new challenge and opportunity to complete my last 2 seasons of eligibility. So Big Coz is what his nickname was. Isaiah Cozart has 2 years remaining, and we'll see where he ends up. We'll stay on top of that story as well. But, Samantha, before we go off the air, over the weekend, the sports community and just the Madison County community
even
as a
our
whole.
media, I've worked with him.
Yeah, I mean, Chad Tate passed away late Saturday morning. I remember getting a text, and I knew Chad just from talking to him about sports. Anytime I saw him, whether it was at a ball game or whether it was out to eat or if it was just, and I shared this story on Facebook about 3 weeks ago. I was coming back from lunch to the station, and Chad was sitting in his truck with his dad, just keeping his dad company while his mom was downstairs at the hair salon getting her hair done. And I'm like, that's just the kind of guy Chad Tate is. He was just hanging out with his dad, sitting in the truck. I think he said they had went maybe to Dunham's or somewhere and got him a hat, and his dad had it, was showing his wife his new hat. But Chad was just, I mean, what a man he was. And we've seen just the community over the last, I didn't know whether we should put it out there or what. I talked to some of the family members. They gave us the okay, so I wanted to do it in a very respectful way.
Right.
But that's what Chad Tate was. He was respectful.
Yes.
He cared about the kids in the community. He was a great basketball player at Madison Central.
And then at Berea
College. And he's still very close with his teammates from there.
Yeah.
I talked about he called games for you guys over at MCS TV back in the day when that was around, and just a tremendous man. And a lot of people are going to miss what Chad Tate did. He will leave a big hole in a lot of areas, will Chad Tate.
And you know that Madison Central girls basketball team, they've had such a season.
Yeah.
One where they've had to change a head coach, and now the loss of an assistant coach. And he was so beloved. Like you said, everything he did was for the love of those students, the student athlete. He loved them all because he knew they had the passion, the ability, and he just did whatever he could to make and up their game.
And it wasn't just Madison Central where he coached at. He cared about the folks over at Madison Southern.
Yes, he did.
I'm
just saying Central because that's where he last coached.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, for sure. And, he was very big with sports in general, scholarship funds. He took a lot of pride in that stuff.
Yes.
He sponsored a lot of things with his business over there, Chad Tate Shelter Insurance over in Berea. He was just the kind of man that everybody, I think, could look up to.
Yeah.
Very energetic, very kind, and Chad Tate was a guy that I think a lot of people cared about, and he cared back in
for
maybe
the
even
community.
a bigger way. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We will all miss him.
Well,
we'll miss him sitting down there on the bench,
yeah.
his big belly laugh and his deep voice. I mean, everyone's going to miss him.
I saw Brad Lovely, who was the coach at Central to start the year for the girls' side, shared a tweet about, what kind of impact that Chad Tate had on him. I talked to Robbie Cooksey today. We played that sound clip on the newscast this evening about, just his relationship with Chad Tate. And I think a lot of the girls that, we see that have played for or are still playing at Madison Central that have come through the ranks, whether playing at middle school, Chad coached some of the middle school girls. Was an assistant coach on the high school team, obviously. To me, I think he just had a huge impact on so many people.
Yes, and he was so funny.
That's the thing.
He was so funny.
He could be serious, but he was also funny
Very
as well.
funny.
Like he knew when to be serious, and he knew when.
And
to
he
be
was
funny.
out here at Jack Burford Chevrolet all the time when we would do the sports shows and different interviews, and you would call him and he'd be there.
Yeah, he never said no. Probably a lot of people too. You needed Chad Tate. You probably got a chuckle and a laugh, and probably a yes after that.
Yeah.
So.
His wife probably didn't like that he was out working all the time.
Yeah, I think that's just
who
he was.
She knew that
though.
how much he loved it, and I think she does too. She did it. She works for the Madison Central basketball, doing all the sports recordings. So she loves it too.
Yeah. So Chad Tate, I think, passed away at 55 years of age. Gone way too soon. The visitation will be Thursday night at Eastside Church. The funeral on Friday, I believe, and that. Just a big void left in the Madison County community. Chad Tate passed away at 55 years of age early Saturday morning. Folks, we appreciate you joining us here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show. Thanks to Chris Prothro, Hagan Harrison, Tanner Buttry, Mr. Basketball for joining us. She is Samantha Burford, and I'm Michael Watkins. Folks, we will see you next time. And with a sad goodbye, we say here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show.